Shalom, peace, and blessings to everyone that is scattered abroad, coming to the house of wisdom, looking to hear what the Spirit is looking to yield forth. I am Priest Isaiah, accompanied by my readers. To my right, we have apprentice priest Tijan, and to my left, we have apprentice priest / Porter Shamar. We're here to talk today about what we're actually in right now, which is the Feast of Weeks. We already knocked down 1 week and going into the second week. But we're here to talk about what shall we do in the midst of the feast. And in the midst of the feast, we shall be busy in the work of the Most High, which is gathering our fruits. Thus, the topic of the class today, gather thy fruits. So, every man and woman that is listening, that's tuned in at this moment, has to and must know who they are in this whole grand scheme of things. Are you an Israelite? Are you a Gentile? Either way, you shall, it's vital that you know your position, your duties, and your responsibilities that comes with the seventh covenant. And you have to know the importance of entering into the seventh covenant. And once you, brother or sister, Jew or Gentile, once you understand and know these things and enter into the seventh covenant, it is now time to get busy in the work of the covenant. And in doing so, you shall gather your fruit. If you could hold for me Wisdom of Solomon 9, verse 13, and Porter Shamar hold for me Proverbs 9 and 1. So oftentimes, us being mortal men and women, our thoughts are oftentimes skewed by society. The things that we grew up to, the things that our mothers, our elders, whoever we grew up around, when they taught us, it begins to become skewed and misguided, I'll say. And we sometimes get in this welfare recipient mindset where it's like, I want to sit back and let everything just come to me. And I don't need to put any work in, I don't need to lift any finger, I don't need to do any kind of work. Everything shall just come to me. And this is not what it is to be in the seventh covenant of the Most High. And it's also that type or that mindset where it's, I need this instant gratification, where you're always looking for the earthly riches and never looking for these spiritual riches, the treasures that you can store in heaven, that no man on this earth could ever touch, could never steal or rob from you. You could get for me Wisdom of Solomon 9, verse 13.
Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 9, verse 13. For what man is he that can know the counsel of Abba, or who can think what the will of the Most High is?
So what man or woman can know the counsel of the Most High, or who can think of what the will of the Most High is? It is a man or woman that is walking with wisdom. And with wisdom, you can do all these things. But without wisdom, you shall not be able to do none of them. Read on.
Verse 14. For the thoughts of mortal men are miserable, and our devices are but uncertain. So
the thoughts of mortal men are miserable. Miserable thoughts. Often do we just go astray and think that we're doing the thing right, but oftentimes we're doing it wrong. As I mentioned before, sometimes we have this welfare recipient mindset that I can lay back and everything shall come unto me. These thoughts are miserable because you know not the ways of the Most High. You know not to gather thy fruit. You don't even know about the seventh covenant. Don't know when to come and worship and serve the Most High. These thoughts are miserable is what it's saying. And our devices are but uncertain. We walk all the days of our life being uncertain of which way we're going when you're not in the ways of the Most High. Let's read on.
Verse 15. For the corruptible body presseth down the soul.
All right, so real quick, we'll just break down the spiritual anatomy. So we should all know that we have three things that go into our spiritual anatomy, which is our physical body, our soul, and our spiritual body. And our soul travels betwixt the two. And it's saying, for the corruptible body presseth down the soul. So the things that your soul, who you are, wants to do, your fleshly thoughts and desires, your mindset, it weighs down your soul, causing you to do the things that you don't want to do, causing you to go astray and have thoughts that are contrary to the Most High. Flesh can cause the soul to never enter into the spiritual body. And this is what the adversary strategically wants to happen. Let's read on.
And the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things.
And the earthly tabernacle weigheth down the mind that museth upon many things. So this earthly tabernacle, once again, is weighing down who you truly are desiring to be. if you're desiring to be this spiritual vessel, fit for the master's use, fit to gather thy fruit, fit to come and worship and serve the Most High, it's saying your flesh shall weigh it down. You won't do the things that you want to do. You won't gather the things that you're supposed to do. Let's read on, verse 16.
And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon the earth.
And hardly do we guess aright. Once again, it's saying the same exact thing. Hardly do we guess aright. We go walk our everyday lives thinking that we're doing the right thing, growing up in Christianity thinking that this over compassion, this overly feeling of what they call love is the way to go. And many believe that this is the way. This is the way to my salvation. Nobody's going to tell me different. And it's because this is what we've been taught. We think that we can sit back, as I mentioned before, we don't have to do any work. That Christ knows my heart. God knows my heart. I'm good. Not knowing that we have to get busy in the work of the Most High. And hardly do we guess it right when it comes to doing so. Read on from that point.
And with labor do we find the things that are before us.
So with labor, with physically putting in work, as I mentioned before, we got people that have that certain mindset where I got to go out and do this thing so I can get these earthly riches. I'm looking for that instant gratification. I ain't looking for anything that got anything to do with the spirit. Read that again, matter of fact.
And hardly do we guess aright at things that are upon the earth. And with labor do we find the things that are before us.
So once again, with labor do we find the things before us. We got to work for everything that's here in this physical realm. Let's read on verse 17. Or finish that out. Yeah.
Okay. But the things that are in heaven, who has searched out.
So, but the things that are in heaven, in the spiritual realm, who can search it out? Who knows it? But our Most High, our Abba. Who knows it but He? Let's read on.
And thy counsel who hath known, except thou give wisdom, and send thy Holy Spirit from above.
And thy counsel who had known. Who had known it? Read that again.
And thy counsel who hath known, except thou give wisdom, and send thy Holy Spirit from above.
And it says, except thou give wisdom, and send thy Holy Spirit from above. This is the way that you shall know that counsel. These are the ways that shall put you in the way of the Most High, put you in proper standing with the Most High. Let's read on verse 18.
For so the ways of them which liveth on the earth were reformed.
So once you receive this Holy Spirit of wisdom by, once again I said, entering into the seventh covenant, getting busy in the work of the Most High, now wisdom shall come within thee, and now you shall be reformed. You shall change. Read on.
And men were taught the things that are pleasing unto thee, and were saved through wisdom.
So once wisdom comes in, and remember, Scripture says, wisdom shall not dwell in a body that is subject unto sin. And the way that you get rid of sin is by entering into the seventh covenant and getting in the sin offering, getting in the daily oblations, coming and worshiping and serving the Most High on His mandated feast days. So once wisdom comes through, it says, she shall show you the things that shall cause you to be pleasing unto the Most High. And only by this is how you become pleasing to the Most High, entering to that seventh covenant and begin to gather your fruit. You could get from me Proverbs 9, verse 1.
Wisdom have builded her house. She have hewn out her 7 pillars. She have killed her beast. She have mingled her wine. She have also furnished her table.
All right, so going along to the story, so wisdom had built her house. She had hewn out her 7 pillars. So wisdom has established this house and established a firm foundation with the 7 pillars of wisdom. The 7 pillars of wisdom are vital to you, each and every one of us, gathering our fruit, getting busy in the work of the Most High. So wisdom has already established this place. We just got to come to it. Let's read on.
Verse 3.
Read verse 2 again.
Verse 2. She have killed her beast. She have mingled her wine. She have also furnished her table.
All right, so she had killed her beast, mingled her wine. Thus, us at the House of Wisdom, we all should know. And if you don't know, this is talking about the oblations. Wisdom has set up the Most High, through the Most High, wisdom has set up the way to sacrifice, the way to propitiate into the Most High. She had killed her beast, mingled her wine. This is talking about the oblations. So she had built this house with a firm foundation for you to get busy in the work. And she has also gave you a way to clean yourself. Let's go ahead and read on verse 3.
She have sent forth her maidens. She crieth upon the highest places of the city.
All right, so she has sent forth her maidens, meaning she has sent forth her priest. and she crieth upon the highest places of the city, for each and every one of us who hath an ear to hear. Let those with an ear hear what the Spirit is putting forth. It's saying, come to me. Come unto me. I have built this house with a solid foundation for you to get busy in the work of the Most High. So when he comes, you shall have what is necessary to offer unto him. Let's read on.
Verse 4. Whoso is simple, let him turn in hither.
So this is not a bad thing to be simple. To be simple is simply saying that I know nothing. I know nothing and I want to know something. Abba, you give me your spirit. You give me that spirit of wisdom. Remember, it said wisdom is the thing that shall cause you to be pleasing unto the Most High. So it is a point to recognize that I don't know anything. And each and every one of us might have felt that before we came in the covenant. Knew that, I really don't know anything. I know a little something that I learned from the camp, or I learned from church, I learned from this, or I learned just growing up, and whatever the case may be. But you understand and recognize that I am simple and I know nothing. But let me understand the thing. And it says, go ahead and read on.
As for him that wanteth understanding, she saith to him.
All right, so who can recognize that, I'm simple and I don't know anything, and I want to know something. I want to know how to worship and serve the Most High. I want to know how to be pleasing unto him. I know that I've been wicked my entire life. It says, whoso is simple and recognize this, turn in hither. Come on in hither and get this understanding. I'm going to show you the ways to appease the Most High. Let's read on, verse 5.
Come, eat my bread, and drink the wine which I have mingled.
So she's saying, come, eat my bread, drink my wine. Like I said before, us at the House of Wisdom know this is talking about the oblations. We know we need to come and worship and serve the Most High, cleanse ourselves. So wisdom will have a vessel to operate in. Let's read on.
Verse 6. Forsake the foolish and live, and go in the way of understanding.
All right, so once again, the term foolish. To be foolish is not a bad thing at all neither. It's a point where you can recognize that I am a fool, but I no longer want to be a fool. I want to be amongst the wise. So it's saying forsake those pedigree of people. I don't want to be around those people anymore. I don't want to be in that roadway, that path anymore. I'm forsaking the foolish ways now, and I want to live. And this live is talking about I want to be close with the Most High, but I got to know how to be close with the Most High. And it says, and go in the way of understanding. I need to understand what to bring to the Most High, when to bring it to the Most High, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it. I need to go in this path. I'm forsaking that path that I've been walking down my entire life. And I need to know and understand the ways to go back to the Most High. So we'll pause for a moment right here, and we'll begin to get into some of the announcements, and we'll bring Watcher Priest Yardon to talk about some of the tights, some of the new things that we're bringing out at the House of Wisdom. So without further ado, the floor is yours, Watcher Priest Yardon.
Shalom, peace and blessings to all the congregation. Priest Yardon coming with the announcements regarding the tithes in this Feast of Weeks. Yes, we are in a Feast of Weeks, even though it's winter, and many people don't know that. But as Chief Priest went through last week, we are currently in the Feast of Weeks that's replicated in the summer over here in this winter side in this 10th month. We've currently just ended the first week of this 7th week feast, and now we're going into the second week of this feast. With that being said, this is a feast of bringing the first fruits, the tithes, and all offerings unto the Most High, so the priest can have enough to sacrifice throughout all of these 7 weeks of festivities and feasting. To bring this out, we'll go to Proverbs chapter 20 and verse 4, and I'll read it, of course. It says, "The sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold." Now, many of us think, it's cold out. We don't do anything. As Chief Priest brought out, Satan has stripped these days from us where we think it's the cold, we don't do anything. We just did Hanukkah, I'm done. And we sit back and chill. We don't harvest. We don't do the work and the labors of the Most High. And Solomon is telling us that is the sluggard mentality, as Priest Azariah was just bringing out in this intro. That is the sluggard, lazy mentality. And when we do that, the scripture reads on, "Therefore shall he beg and harvest and have nothing." When that 50th day comes of this Feast of Weeks, then we'll beg. We'll say, I should have harvested all these 7 weeks. I should have given my tithe offerings. I should have stored up virtue. I should have given the fruits of the Spirit, but I didn't. Most High, please give me what I need. I gave you 7 weeks to do it, and you didn't. We must maintain in this Feast of Weeks in the winter side and be not the sluggard, but that diligent, prudent person that's coming, offering to the Most High and doing their due diligence. Jumping down to the 13th verse. It says, love not sleep, lest thou come to poverty. Don't love the sleep, the slumber that this world brings upon us. Let's not love going out into our own little corner in our winter and hibernating like a bear. We're not bears. We're the children of the Most High, and we must do the work of the Most High. Reading on, it says, open thine eyes, and thou shalt be satisfied with bread. Open your spiritual eyes and see the times that the Most High has ordained for us in this winter season. There are winter crops that grow and that need to be harvested and brought forth to the priest so they can offer the offerings unto the Most High. And when you do this, you'll be satisfied with bread. That's not just talking about any bread. It's not talking about Wonder Bread or French baguettes. This is talking about the meat offering, the bread of the Most High. And to do this, we all have a part to play in this feast. The priests offer the oblations. The porters and the holy singers help the priests in offering those oblations in their form and facet. And also the congregation has a part to play as well by offering the tithes unto the Most High in this Feast of Harvest. And to do that, as we talked about, the tithes are the first fruits, what you grow from your ground, and offer that to the priest so that they can offer the offerings, whether that be wheat, grain, fruits, things from trees, whatever it may be. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we're not in a agrarian society. We're living in apartments, in the city, in the concrete jungle. We're not growing anything. And if we do go to the stores, we don't know if it's abominable, if it's unclean, if it's unfit. We don't know anything about what's good and what's not. So the house of wisdom, the priesthood, has done their due diligence in making sure that all the tithes that are being produced here and offered for the people and the priest are fit and worthy for the oblations of the Most High. So definitely in this Feast of Weeks, in this second week, as we begin to start this second week and move on to the next weeks, you want to make sure you're getting your meat offering and be satisfied with the bread of life, the meat offering, the flour that is produced and made by the priest to make sure that's fit and acceptable unto the Most High. We've also branched out to the drink offering, the blood of grapes, the, quote, sacrament wine for the oblations as well. We'd have the drink offering that's needed as the tithes to procure the oblations as required. So definitely you want to be supporting and getting your oblation wine, your sacramental wine, whether it's the non-alcoholic version or the regular wine as well. You can go on our website to check out that information, Shekinah.com/tithes. Once again, Shekinah.com/tithes. Most High willing, as well, on the website, I'll be willing soon, we'll be having the salt as well. As we are the salt of the earth, Most High made a covenant with salt with Moses. We must sprinkle all of the meat offerings with salt. And also, we cannot neglect the sweet-smelling savor of the incense as well that goes unto the Most High. And I'll be willing soon, the oil as well will be on the website. Stay tuned throughout this Feast of Weeks as we start building up the tithes so that the congregation can offer that and make sure and be confident that your oblations are fit and suitable to the Most High. And also what you receive and eat and consume when you're offering your oblations to the Most High with the priest is acceptable and fit as well. Once again, the website is Shekinah.com/tithes. Shekinah.com/tithes to offer your tithes and to receive tithes at home when you're calling in the oblation line and taking part as well. The link for that is in the description of this video as well. And now I'll yield the floor to Sister Medina as we finish up the announcements for today.
Shalom, family, and welcome to the 8th day of the 10th month of Maharai. We've just completed the first week of the Winter Feast of Weeks, and I hope we are all preparing for the ingathering, which is a holy convocation, where we're mandated to bring our tithes, as Priest Jordan has previously said. I wanted to state that it's also equally important that we support the priesthood with our monetary donations, allowing the priesthood to promote the seventh covenant, the gospel of peace, the peace offerings, and to consecrate the saints of the Most High into the seventh covenant, the covenant of David, consecrated by our high priest, Yahushua the Prince. To make a monetary donation, please visit the website at www.shekinah.com/donate. As I stated earlier, we're in the 10th month of Maharai, and although we are only 2 months from completing this ecclesiastical year, this study guide is power-packed with information that has been meticulously codified for learners of all ages and pedigree. Please secure your copy of the 2021-2022 Biblical Calendrical Study Guide at www.shekinah.com/calendar. Each week, the House of Wisdom offers classes to further the understanding of the seventh covenant and to fortify learners in the will of our Abba. On first day, so-called Sunday, we will be hosting the Daughters of Wisdom class at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This Power Pack class has been designed to teach the sisters of the seventh covenant how to walk in the likeness of wisdom, or the Ruach HaKodesh. All praises for the priesthood who facilitate this lesson, as well as some of the Daughters of Wisdom. But it's going to teach us how to be like wisdom in all areas of our life: sisterhood, motherhood, and daughterhood. For those sisters that are in the covenant, if you have not done so, join in and let us all grow together. See you in class tomorrow, Most High willing. Every so-called Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, please join us for Bible study, where the priesthood navigates learners through the 7 pillars of wisdom, as well as practical biblical principles for living. All praises to the Most High for Priest Bakar, who taught on the lesson titled The Nazarenes. It was a power-packed and sobering lesson, providing us understanding that this seventh covenant walk is a walk of endurance, and we all are aware that he that shall endure until the end shall be saved. Most High willing, Priest Rosh will lead the main class into another edifying lesson this upcoming so-called Wednesday. Please tune in. We look forward to supping with you. For our non-Israelite brethren, House of Wisdom and Unity, the United Nations in the Tabernacles of Yahweh, which reconnects non-Israelite believers to the Most High by way of Israel, according to Acts 14:27, and properly teaches those not in the lineage of Israel their roles and responsibilities to the worship of the Most High. It is understood through the scripture that salvation has been made to all through the covenant of David. So we look forward to connecting with you. For details on how to obtain access to any of these classes mentioned, please visit the House of Wisdom Facebook page and or the website at www.shekaniah.com. Israelite family, True Fringe invites you to explore their website for your Hebrew apparel at www.shekaniah.com/truefringe. The new winter collection is available. Please go on the website and find you a garment of your choice. House of Wisdom also invites you to explore the health and wellness line of the Living Waters, a proprietary blend of organic minerals. As written in Ecclesiasticus 38:4, the Most High hath created medicines out of the earth, and he that is wise will not abhor them. For additional information and to purchase these two fantastic products, Living Waters, a colloidal metal blend, as well as double onyx, please visit the House of Wisdom website at www.shekaniah.com/health. For any questions, comments, or House of Wisdom inquiries, please contact the correspondence team at houseofwisdom@shekaniah.com. And as a final reminder, all links that have been shared within these announcements can be located in the description of this live video. This concludes your announcements for today, and I will now turn your attention back over to Priest Azariah, who will be teaching the main class, Gather Thy Fruit. May the peace offering be multiplied unto you all. Shalom.
Khan, definitely, sis. Once again, join us as we go into the main class, Gather Thy Fruits. Shalom, family, and welcome back to the main class, Gather Thy Fruits. Once again, if you're just joining us, I am Priest Isaiah, and I'm joined by my reader to my right, Apprentice Priest T-John, and also Porter Shamar to my left. All right, so we've already established that in order to know the ways of the Most High, you must first come under the covenant and start to cleanse yourself and allow the Holy Spirit of wisdom to dwell within your mortal body, to show you the ways of the Most High, so that you shall be pleasing unto the Most High. And as we're in the Feast of Weeks, we'll begin to understand and reveal in wisdom by way of the Holy Spirit. Wisdom shall reveal the ways on how shall we gather our fruit within this feast. So when that 50th day come, we should not be empty-handed. We shall come to the Most High with an abundance of fruit. But let's first understand what fruit shall we gather and what shall we offer unto the Most High. So let's get it in Galatians 3, verse 24.
Wherefore the law was our schoolmaster to bring us to Yahushua, that we might be justified by faith.
All right, so it says, wherefore the law was our schoolmaster. This was like our textbook. This is the way to show us how we shall come unto the Most High, or unto Christ, which is talking about the seventh covenant. And it's saying, wherefore the law, which is talking about Torah, talking about Moses' covenant, the old way to sacrifice, the old way and how they did things, what they did and what they brought unto the altar. It said, it shall be our schoolmaster. It shall show us the ways and show us what we shall do in the seventh covenant. The covenant of David was which Christ came and consecrated. So that law being Moses' covenant, and Christ, which is David's covenant, but Christ came and consecrated it. Let's read on, verse 25.
But after that faith is come, we are no longer under a schoolmaster.
All right, so what faith is, we'll do just a quick breakdown on it, and you can refer to some of the other classes which we broke down faith numerous times. Faith is the substance of a thing that you hope for. It is the manifestation of it. The thing that you hope for, you put in your oblations, you made your request known, then you received it. That is the faith. It's not just blindly believing a thing. It's when the Most High give you a thing that you asked for. In righteousness, you didn't ask amiss, you asked for the right thing, and the Most High gave it to you. So it could be where you looking to do something, and the Most High, you say, Father, I need transportation. I need money to sustain, so I will not be lacking on the earth. I will not be lacking in my duties in the work of the Most High. And the Most High bless you with a car. That is now your faith. That's the substance. That's the tangible thing that you can go out, you can hit your key. Oh, man, I got a brand new car. I'm good. I'm good now. The Most High gave me what I needed. This is that faith. So what we're talking about here is the covenant that was prophesied to come. So we were hoping for this covenant. It wasn't there yet, but we were hoping for it. And it says, but after that faith is come, which is talking about that new covenant, it says we are no longer under that schoolmaster, meaning that old covenant, Moses' covenant. We're no longer under this. But remember, this is our way. This is like a textbook to show us how we shall do. This is like an instruction guide on what we shall do in that seventh covenant. All right, let's transition over to Leviticus 23 and pick it up at verse 9.
And the Most High spake unto Moses, saying, Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, When ye be come into the land which I give unto you, and shall reap the harvest thereof, then ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest.
All right, so once again, remember, the schoolmaster is our way to learn and to guide us on how we shall do things spiritually in the seventh covenant. So he's saying, speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them, when you come into that land which I give unto you, and shall reap your harvest, ye shall bring of your first fruits. Ye shall bring your first fruits of harvest unto the priest. And what shall the priest do with it? Go ahead and read on.
Verse 11, and he shall wave the sheaf before the Most High, to be accepted for you. On the morrow after the Sabbath, the priest shall wave it.
All right, so we're not only talking about just any old Shabbat, we're talking about a specific Shabbat. And if you got the calendrical study guide, we've actually numbered it in there. And it says, to be accepted for you on the morrow after the Shabbat, the priest shall wave it. What is this wave? Is it just some random thing? And what is this Shabbat? As I mentioned, it is the 13th Shabbat of the year, the 13th Shabbat of the year. And what's the significance of that? It's the beginning of the Feast of Weeks. So remember, this is our schoolmaster. It's telling us, you shall bring your first fruits on this day, at the beginning of the Feast of Weeks. So this is the 13th Shabbat of the year, and the priest shall wave it. And what is that wave? What is it? Is it some random thing the priest just take it and say, yeah, bro, appreciate you bringing this to us? And then that's it? Absolutely not. Let's get it real quick in Exodus 29. Pick it up at the 27th verse.
And thou shalt sanctify the breast of the wave offering.
Oh, the breast of the wave offering. This is what the priest did. Go ahead and read on.
And the shoulder of the heave offering.
And he also heaved the thing. So we have a wave offering and a heave offering. Go ahead and read on.
Which is waved and which is heaved up, of the ram of the consecration, even of that which is of Aaron, for Aaron, and that which is for his sons.
All right, so what we have the priest doing, what we're talking about, is heaving and waving the sacrifices unto the Most High. When you come and bring your first fruits, the priest shall now put it in that oblation and heave it and wave it. And what is that heave and wave? Let's get it in Luke 14, verse 27.
And
Matter of fact, pick it up at the 25th verse.
And there went great multitudes with him, and he turned and said unto them, If any man come to me, and hate not his father, and mother, and wife, and children, and brethren, and sisters, yea, of his own life also, he cannot be my disciple.
All right, so we're talking about if any man come to me, come to service and worship the Most High, and it's talking about this biblical hate. Not where I just hate my father and I hate my mother, I don't want anything to do with them. It's talking about a biblical hate. It's I'm willing to put all of that aside for the work of the Most High. It says if you can't do this, if you can't say within your chambers that I'm willing to disregard all of that. I love my mother. I love all of them. I keep commandment with all of them. But if they're going to keep me away from doing your work, Abba, I'm willing to disregard all of them. I'm willing to move away, and I'll talk to them when I talk to them. I see them when I see them. He's saying if you can't do this, you cannot be my disciplined one. You're not disciplined. You're not fit for this. Let's read on.
Verse 27. And whosoever doeth not bear his cross.
And whosoever does not bear his cross. This is that heave and wave that we do on the daily. And specifically talking about the Feast of Weeks. Remember it said, the children of Israel shall come and bring their first fruits and give it to the priests. And the priests are going to heave it and wave it. And it says, whosoever does not bear his cross. What else?
And come after me cannot be my disciple.
You cannot be my disciple. If you're not engaging in this, bringing your first fruits in this Feast of Weeks, gathering your fruits, knowing what fruit to bring, he said, you cannot be my disciple. You will not be my disciplined one. You will not be fit for the master's use. All right, let's get it back in Leviticus. Pick it up at the 12th verse.
And ye shall offer that day when ye wave the sheaf of the lamb without blemish of the first year for a burnt offering until the Most High.
All right, once again, reiterating the point, ye shall offer that day, when ye wave the sheaf, a lamb, just talking about the sacrifices, what we shall bring. This is our schoolmaster telling us what we shall do. Let's read on.
Verse 13. And the meat offering thereof shall be 2/10 deals of fine flour mingled with oil, an offering made by fire unto the Most High for a sweet savor. And the drink offering thereof shall be of wine, the fourth part of an hin. For ye shall eat neither bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, until the self-same day.
All right, so look at this. It says, and ye shall neither eat bread, nor parched corn, nor green ears, none of this, until you bring unto the Most High what's due unto him first. You supposed to bring your first, the first of whatever you got. You bring it to the priest. They shall heave and wave it before you do partake in any of it. The Most High wants your first. He wants the best of the best. And he said, you shall not eat none of it until this happens. Let's read on. Finish that.
Until the self-same day that ye have brought an offering unto your Abba. It shall be a statute forever throughout your generation in all your dwellings.
All right, so look at what it's saying. It shall be a statute forever. You shall always do this thing. This is why it's telling us this is our schoolmaster. We shall do this forever. All the way up to our generation now, this shall be a thing perpetual. Let's read on.
Verse 15. And ye shall count unto you from the morrow after the Shabbat, from the day that ye brought the sheaf of the wave offering, 7 Shabbats shall be complete.
All right, so once again, the morrow after the 13th Shabbat of the year is when you bring your first fruits to the priest. They heave and wave it. And this is what? The beginning of the Feast of Weeks. And look what it says. From that day ye shall bring your sheaf, the wave offering. 7 Sabbaths shall be complete. So what is 7 times 7? You got 49. And then, exactly. And then the 50th day is that last day, the Feast of Ingathering, the feast, finishing up the Feast of Weeks. And in the midst of this, we shall all continually bring forth our fruit. This is what the schoolmaster is telling us. This is what the textbooks are telling us. Our ancestors are telling us. This is how you shall do a thing in this 7th covenant. But we're going to get a little bit later on exactly how we shall do it in the 7th covenant. All right, if you can get for me Galatians 5, and we'll pick it up at the 9th verse. And if you could, Porter Shamar, hold for me go ahead and get what you got. I got you, Porter Shamar.
Galatians 5, verse 9. A little leaven leaveneth the whole lump.
All right, so a little leaveneth the whole entire lump. So what are we talking about here? We talking about sin. It's saying sin, a little bit of sin. If you just let a little bit in, say, you know what, I'm gonna let a little bit in. I'm gonna do this. I'm inclined to do this evil right here. And then you don't atone for it. You just go to sleep, get lazy, whatever the case may be. It says that little bit of leaven, that little bit of sin shall leaven the whole lump. Everything shall become sinful. The next thing you know, you engage in all kind of wickedness. Let's read on.
Verse 10. I have confidence in you through the Most High, that you will be none otherwise minded.
All right, so what we're talking about is in the midst of the Feast of Weeks. He's saying a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So once we begin this feast, counting that 13th Shabbat of the year, or in the second half of the year, when we're going into the feast of, on the latter end, the winter Feast of Weeks, he's telling us a little leaven leaveneth the whole lump. So be wary, walk circumspect. Make sure you're looking and being a wise student person, making sure you're looking well to your ways, knowing that just a little bit of sin can just throw off my whole everything, my whole world. And it says, I have confidence in you through the Most High, that ye will be none otherwise. You would not be sinful. You would not be negligent in offering up your sacrifices. You would not let sin come in and just leaven the whole lump. Let's read verse 10 again.
Verse 10. I have confidence in you through the Most High, that ye will be none otherwise minded. But he that troubleth you shall bear his judgment, whosoever he be.
All right, so he's saying, I have confidence in you. And the reason I have confidence in you is because I know you're operating with the Spirit. I see you in the oblations. I see you atoning. I see you fighting it daily. I see you putting a death to sin daily. So I got confidence in you that you'll be none otherwise minded. You're not thinking sinful thoughts. You're not looking to do evil while you're in this Feast of Weeks. You're looking to gather your fruit. It says, but he that troubleth you shall bear his judgment. He's going to bear his judgment. You just got to continue your fight. You got to walk in your walk, continue and do the things that you're supposed to do. Gather your fruit in this Feast of Weeks, so that when that 50th day cometh, you shall have an abundance to give unto the Most High. But don't worry about that one that's troubling you. He shall bear his judgment, is what it's saying, whosoever he be. Let's read on.
Verse 11. And I, brethren, if I yet preach circumcision, why do I yet suffer persecution?
Where you at? My bad. Skip down to 15. That's my bad.
Verse 15. But if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another.
All right, but if ye bite and devour one another, you got infighting, doing the things that you know you're not supposed to be doing. You're not walking circumspect. You're not atoning for your trespasses, which we trespass every single day. If you're not doing this, it says, if ye bite and devour one another. And we see it all the day long. Turn on the news, you see our brothers killing our brothers. See it every single day. He says, if ye bite and devour one another, read that again.
Verse 15, but if ye bite and devour one another, take heed that ye be not consumed one of another.
Take heed. Let not sin proliferate. Let not that little piece of leaven the entire lump. Walk circumspect. Cut it off at the root. Say, you know what? Oh, wait a minute, bro. I got ill feelings about you right now. And I know if this contention is all up in me, I know sin is in me. So let me do what I'm supposed to do. We in the Feast of Weeks. I'm cutting that out right now, and I'm going to cut it off at the root. Let me give a sin offering up. Brother, get in this sin offering with me. Please, I implore you to get in this sin offering with me. Let's get a trespass offering and a peace and thanksgiving. And let's make sure that spirit is no more. He said, unless you be consumed one of another. Let's read on verse 16.
This I say then, walk in the Spirit.
Walk in the Spirit. This I say to you, walk in the Spirit. And what else?
And ye shall not fulfill the lust of the flesh.
So when you're walking in the Spirit, which we're going to get a little bit later on, how you collect the fruit of the Spirit. When you're collecting your fruit, you're walking in the Spirit. Your consciousness is always fixed on gathering your virtue, gathering that fruit, walking in the ways of the Most High, making sure sin is cut off. Let's read on.
Verse 17. For the flesh lusted against the Spirit, and the Spirit against the flesh.
So it says the flesh desire against the Spirit. It desires to do things that the Spirit wants to do. The flesh is like, hey, let's go over here, man. They partying over here. They doing this over here. All the while, the Spirit is like, yo, man, it's the Feast of Weeks. What you talking about? We supposed to be doing this right here. Surely we can't do that. The flesh, nah, bro, it's going to be fun. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's have fun. We ain't got to do all that. We got 47 more days to do all that, man. Let's just take this one day to go do that. Not so. Let's read on.
And these are contrary the one to the other, so that ye cannot do the things that ye would.
This is sin. It says, and these are contrary one to the other. The Spirit wants to do this. The Spirit wants to go left, and the flesh wants to go right. It'll never work. You got to tame that thing. It says a man that control his spirit, that rule over his own spirit. He said he that can take it the city, because he's controlling himself. He's in control of his faculties because he understands, I need the Holy Spirit of wisdom. I need to walk in the ways of the Most High, or sin shall surely have me out doing all types of wickedness. Let's read on.
Verse 18. But if ye be led of the Spirit, ye are not under the law.
All right, but if ye be led by the Spirit, and I know a lot of brothers may use this to say that, brother, see, we don't got to do sacrifices no more. We ain't under the law no more, brother. That's not what it's saying. It says, but if ye be led of the Spirit, which is this seventh covenant, spiritual covenant, you're no longer under Moses' covenant, the physical way to sacrifice. Let's read on.
Verse 19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery.
All right, so the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these. So we're going to go through this list. And the first one being adultery. And I know the world likes to put it out as you cheating on your spouse, you sleeping, this woman sleeping under this, and man sleeping. It's not so. What we're talking about is a married woman laying with another man other than her husband, and that man laying with a married woman. This is that adultery. This is the work of the flesh. Get that etymology for me. You got the etymology for that?
Etymology of adultery: voluntary violation of the marriage bed. An extramarital sex that willingly and maliciously interferes with marriage relations.
All right, so once again, this is a married woman laying with another man other than her husband, and that same man laying with that married woman knowing that she is married. They both knowing this. This is the fleshly thing manifesting, and these are the things that we are not supposed to be engaged in at all, but definitely during the Feast of Weeks. You are not gathering your fruit by doing this. You're gathering fruit of wickedness. Let's go on.
Uncleanness, lasciviousness.
I think the next one is fornication.
Fornication.
All right, so fornication. I know the world likes to use this fornication as some licentiousness, some like sexual desirable thing where you begin to lose the point. True fornication against the Most High is you going and worshiping and serving other gods over him. You could get from me real quick, Wisdom of Solomon 14 and 12. So this fornication is not this physical thing that the world likes to report to us and what we've been taught. Fornication, like I said, is you being playing the harlot, as the scriptures say, and going about to worship and serve other gods, partaking in these high holy days, which are no days. You got that?
1 second.
Right. So let's understand exactly what it means. We're thinking we got to be put on our Hebrew specs and begin to think spiritually upon this. Got it? Go ahead and get it when you got it.
For the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication, and the invention of them the corruption of life.
All right, so the devising of idols was the beginning of spiritual fornication. Once again, this is what we're talking about. This devising of idols, devising of gods who are no gods. You just, hey, the red book God, let's worship it. Just devising all kind of stuff. And the Most High is like, oh, why are you doing that? And you got me. You like, hey, let's worship this. The rock God, the water God, the God of the universe. It has nothing to do with the Heavenly Father. This is true fornication. And it says, the invention of them are the corruption of life. This is the thing that corrupts you being close with the Most High. This is fornication. We got to set this aside while we're in the Feast of Weeks, or we will not be gathering our fruit. Let's read on. You can drop that.
Uncleanness.
All right, so this uncleanness is you essentially profaning the Most High's high holy days, willingly making yourself unclean, continually being unclean, doing things that you're not supposed to. When the Shabbat come around, you may have a wife. You may want to engage in some things with your wife. We'll keep it PG. And you got all right to do so. But the Most High said, on my day, let's keep it holy. Keep yourself clean. And the reason being is that you can get into these sacrifices. If you become unclean, you can no longer get into the sacrifice. You got to wait now. It's not a trespass to do it, but the Most High is telling you, just set that aside on that day. Put that aside. Put your own pleasures aside on that day. Come to worship and serve me. This is that uncleanness. Let's read on.
Lasciviousness.
Lasciviousness. All right, let's get the etymology on that.
Feeling morbid sexual desire or a propensity to lewdness.
Is that all?
Lustful or inclined to lust.
All right, so once again, it can be used as this thing of this sexual immorality where you want to just engage in some wickedness. And it is indeed that. And a lot of times, a lot of us struggle with this. This is a struggle amongst many because it is a thing that is naturally just within us, that we naturally just desire. And there's nothing wrong with that. But the adversary knows it. He knows that button. He like, they need that right there. I know they need it. And I'm going to just throw something in here that's real wicked, and it's going to put some gift wrapped over it and make it look real good. And then, like fools, we fall into it. We fall into it every single day. And a lot of times, this can cause you to live a whole lifestyle of this because of this desire, this propensity to just want it. And the adversary knows it. And you, like I said, you can live your entire existence just to do that. I know brothers that just not in the truth, not whatsoever. And I was a victim of it myself. But you live your entire life. You like, man, I got to get the freshest clothes so I want to attract the finest woman. She got to see that I'm sharp out here. I'm going to try to get my money right. And you're doing it all for this lasciviousness, all for this thing, this desire that you got up in you because you are failing to do it righteously. Let's read on.
Idolatry.
Idolatry, which we just went through. This is the beginning, the cause, and the end of all your detriment. All the things that we go through in life, it says idolatry is the beginning. So all of these other things that we're talking about are just a result of that. The first things first is when you come and worship and serve gods over the Most High, over our Heavenly Father. When you go and do these things, everything else just comes a result of that. It's just a consequence of it. Sin begins to proliferate. But this is the beginning. When you begin to worship and serve other gods who are no gods at all. Let's read on.
Witchcraft.
You got the etymology, right?
Witchcraft is the art of sorcery. And the sorcery is the belief in magical spells that harness occult forces or evil spirits to produce unnatural effects in the world.
All right, so witchcraft essentially being those who go in through that back door another way where they offer unto their God, who are no God, which is Satan, that witchcraft, and they began to accuse us, the children of Israel, accuse us in the courts of the Most High. Father, you told them, don't eat this. You told them, don't do this. It's the Feast of Weeks, Father. Look at them. They evil, they wicked. These are those who come against us every single day. That witchcraft. And then we got our own lending to it, supporting it, making sure that thing does what it does. We can look out the window. You can look on social media. Look at our brothers and sisters. And it's not to condemn them because we once were a part of it. But look at what time it is. Their holidays coming up and it's all through it. It make you just not even want to get on there. You go to any store, you just hear them jingling. Damn, man, now I'm humming it a little bit. now it's in me. Damn. Now I got to give an oblation up for this. All right, let's read on.
Variance.
Hatred is next.
Hatred.
So hatred, pretty self-explanatory. Well, we hating one another, which simply means we're not keeping law, statute, commandment with one another. Get that for me and give me Exodus 34. So this hatred being the lacking of keeping law, statute, commandment with one another. And we see it. It's proliferating. I know back home in Ohio and where I'm from, the murder rate is increased more than it's ever been. Just hatred between brethren. We just disliking each other for whatever reason. Oh, man, you did this. You stepped on my shoe. And then the argument started. Next thing you know, somebody dead, and you just hear it on the news. And you hear it so much, you become numb to it. Where you like, somebody else killed. That 3 got shot. All of them dead. 4 of them tonight. Look at Chicago. 27 of them in one night. Hatred towards one another. And this hatred is, like I said before, it's this essentially synonymous with idolatry. It is you worshiping and serving other gods who are no gods. It's just these subtle things that we just let go right over our head, and we've been taught from our youth to celebrate Christmas, celebrate Thanksgiving, celebrate all these things, not even knowing that it's idolatry. You're worshiping and serving gods who are no gods. Give me 34. No, don't worry about it. We'll continue on. Prince Priest T. John.
Okay. Variance.
You got the etymology for that?
Variance is the state of disagreement, a discord that splits a group.
Read them. You got it?
I just said it. You want to say it again?
Con.
Okay. Variance is the state of disagreement. It's caused discord that splits a group.
All right. So read it one more time.
Okay. Variance is the state of disagreement, discord that splits a group.
All right, so this is one of the things the Most High actually hates. He said those who sow a discord among brethren. So these are these people who come in and just gotta disagree just because. You see them brothers all on Facebook. As soon as you post something, brother, I disagree. 7th covenant, I think it's a 9th one. Just to disagree. They have nothing to back it up, but just want to come and disagree with you. You can get on there and say, everybody have a good day. Oh, brother, you went good. That's go odd. You know what I mean? That's something else. You worshiping the God by saying good morning to me. Damn, brother, you disagree with everything. You agree with nothing. You got a problem with everything. These are these type of people. You are gathering fruit of the wicked. You're not gathering the fruit of righteousness. We got to be mindful of all these things while we're in this feast. Continually be gathering our fruit. We got 50 days to do it. Get busy in it. Let's read on.
Emulation.
Emulations. We're going to give me 2 Maccabees 4. And we're going to pick it up at the 12th verses. Emulations is somewhat self-explanatory, but we'll go a little bit deeper into it. But, you can actually emulate somebody. You can look up to somebody and just like the way they do a thing and be a young man. And you just look to an elder like, man, I like the way he does that. And you begin to emulate that man. You begin to pick up some of his characteristics. And so this essentially at a base level is what emulation is. But to go deeper into it, we're talking about something else. Let's get it in 2 Maccabees 4, verse 12.
For he built gladly a place of exercise under the tower itself, and brought the chief young men under his subjection, and made them wear a hat.
All right, so We're talking about a time in the Maccabees when the Greeks were in rule, and it says, and brought the chief young men, talking about the priests, all these men of renown, men who had some kind of status in life. He said he brought the chief young men under his subjection. We're talking about King Antiochus, and made them wear a hat, began to be engaged in the Greek fashion, began to emulate the Greeks. So now we're talking about this emulation on a whole nother level now, where we begin to emulate our adversaries, our enemies, the ways of the people that have no good mind for us. Nothing about them. Everything they do is like, yeah, we got one hand behind our back, and we looking to make sure you are always in captivity. We have no good thing for you. Let's read on.
Verse 13. Now such was the height of Greek fashions, and increased the heathenish manners.
All right, so now such was the height of Greek fashion. So let's bring it to today's times. Now is the height of American fashion, skinny jeans, and just the women just wear leggings and whatever, just show everything. Show your buttocks, show your silhouette, just show everything. These Greekish fashions, or these American fashions, and the increase of heathenish manners. And we see it all the day long when we begin to emulate our enemies. We begin to want to be like them. It's upstanding to be this American. I'm going to put on a suit just like them. I went to a school just like them. I got some status now. I'm doing something now. Instead of saying, you know what? Let me do what the scripture says. The scripture says a man or woman shall be commended according to their wisdom. But then you go about to emulate your enemy, emulate the Americans. You want to be just like them. I'm going out and voting. I'm a part of it. I voted, and I'm wearing your little badge. I voted. I've took my vaccine. I'm upstanding American. You begin to emulate your enemy. Let's read on.
Through the exceeding profaneness of Jason, that ungodly wretch and no high priest, that the priest had no courage to serve any more at the altar, but despised the temple.
Look at that. So we began to emulate our enemies. Like, man, they got it going on. I'm trying to be like that. I'm trying to get that money. I'm seeing over here. Just remember what David said in Psalm 73. He said, man, I'm looking at all these people, all these wicked ones, and they are prospering in the world. They are prospering. And I'm just over here, little old me, just sacrificing every day, atoning for everything. Am I doing it all in vain, Abba? He said, surely not. He said, these people got an end to them. But these priests at this time, they couldn't see it. They couldn't see. They were narrow-minded and couldn't see afar off that that's wicked right there. And that path right there leads to straight up destruction. I want no part of that. They went the opposite and said, you know what? Let me be a part of that. And it says they had no courage to serve anymore at the altar. So this emulating your enemies, it took them away from the altar, took them away from sacrificing. Once again, going back to idolatry. This is the beginning of the corruption of life. Your life begins to be corrupt. You begin to become separate from the Most High. Let's finish this up.
But despising the temple and neglecting the sacrifices.
Look at that, neglecting the sacrifices. Once you begin to fail to atone, sin begins to proliferate. Once Satan comes in and plant that one seed in your mind to say, you know what? Just take a break today. Come on, man. You get up every single day, man. Most High won't care if you take one day off. Just take one day off. You take that one day off, that one day turn into 4 days. 4 days turn into a month. And now you like I said before, you just involved in all kind of wickedness. You just like, damn, you looking at yourself in the mirror like, damn, who am I now? Who am I? I was once a righteous man, but who am I now? Let's read on.
Hasten to be partakers of the unlawful allowance.
Okay, finish it up.
In the place of exercise, after the games of discus called them forth.
All right, so hasten to be partakers of this unlawful allowance. This unlawful allowance, which he's telling you all the unlawful things. Don't sacrifice. Don't go on the Shabbat days. Don't gather your fruit. Don't do none of that stuff. But we got an allowance for you. We're going to give you some money for this. And like I said, bring it to today's times. We got all our little young men wanting to be NFL player, want to be the next NFL star, next NBA star, next musician. I want to be like Lil Wayne. I want to be like such and such. All the while, you want to be a partaker of this unlawful allowance. You want to be a part of the wicked because you see them prospering on the earth, not knowing like I said, that road leads to utter destruction. And it was mentioned in Psalm 73. David mentioned it. He said, man, I thank the Most High because I felt like I was doing all this stuff in vain. I didn't emulate my enemy, and I felt like I was doing all of this in vain. And I actually began to slip. But he said, all praise to the Most High. He showed me their latter end, and I seen their destruction. He said, man, it was a slippery slope that the Most High got them on. He said, at one moment they prospering in the world, the next moment it's utter destruction. I want no part to that. Let's go back to what you got.
Galatians chapter 5, the latter part of verse 20. Wrath.
You got the etymology for that? Or this wrath, while you get it, wrath being where you want to come back and avenge yourself. When you have this great wrath upon your brethren, upon your sisters, because you see fit to go do a thing, and you got wrath because of it, and you exuding that wrath, making sure that, no, you're going to feel this because I don't like what you did to me. You're not collecting the fruit of the Spirit. You're not collecting the proper fruit. Let's read on.
Strife.
So this strife, matter of fact, you get the etymology for that?
Quarrel, fight, discord, to battle, to combat, to conflict, to torment, distress, dispute.
Read that again.
To quarrel, to fight, to discord, to battle, to combat, to conflict, torment, distress, dispute.
All right, so this strife, once again, if you could get for me James 3, verse 13. So that strife is, once again, having Satan, the spirits of sin within thee, causing you to want to strife with your brother, your sister, whoever it may be. You got that for me? James 3, verse 13.
1 second. Verse 13. Who is a wise man that endureth with knowledge among you?
It says, who is a wise man and endued with knowledge among you? Who is a wise man among you? How shall you tell? Let's read on.
Let him show out of a good conversation his works with meekness of wisdom.
This is how you shall know a wise man or woman, because the way that they operate with wisdom, you see the meekness in them. They have not this strife in their heart. Let's read on, verse 14.
But if you have bitter envying and strife in your hearts, glory not and lie not against the truth.
All right, so he says, but if ye have bitter envying and strife in your mind, when you're always looking to strife, have this strife with your brother, your husband, your sister, whoever it may be. If you got this in you, in your mindset, the way that you operate, he says, lie not against the truth. Don't lie. Don't act like you righteous and you know you're not. He said, lie not against the truth. What else?
Verse 15. This wisdom descendeth not from above, but is earthly, sensual, devilish.
Look at that. So if you have this strife in your heart, he says, lie not against the truth. He said, but this wisdom, letting you know that this is another wisdom. This is the wisdom that's not from the Most High. He said, this wisdom descended not from above, but is earthly, sensual, and devilish. It's going to cause you to gather the fruits of the wicked when you got this strife in your heart. All right, let's get back to where you at, T. John.
Seditions.
Go ahead.
Heresies, envyings, murders, drunkenness.
All right, so if you could get from me Ecclesiasticus, Sirach 31, verse 27. So this drunkenness, it can be either or. We can be talking about drunkenness of the spirit, which is you just being, what the scripture tell you to be sober-minded, to walk circumspect and know what you're getting yourself into. As the scriptures also say, you shall know your own bitterness. 31:27. You shall know your own bitterness. You shall know the things that cause you to go astray. You shall know not to place yourself in certain situations, knowing that if I do that, I might snap. So let me not put myself in that situation. Let me not put myself around these type of people. I need to work on myself. And I know I'm not going to do that. And if you need to fast from a certain thing, you have to know your own bitterness. You got to be sober-minded. Get that when you got it?
Wine is good Wine is as good as life to a man, if to be drunk moderately.
All right, so now we're talking about this physical wine. What we're talking about physically, the drinking of alcohol. It says wine is as good as life to a man, if it be done moderately. If you can show some temperance, if you can show yourself to be temperate within it, where you just not this drunkard where you just throwing them back every single day. You knocking down a couple bottles a day. Where you always inebriated, always intoxicated. Read on.
What life is then to a man? This is without wine, for it was made to make men glad.
All right, so we're talking about this physical wine. So it may be those who believe that we are not allowed to consume any alcohol. That is of the devil. Surely it is. I've heard many Christians say this to me. You drink what? You drink a beer? Oh, you are wicked. You ain't supposed to be doing that, but that's the what they call it. That's the drink of the devil. You ain't supposed to be doing that. But we see here the scriptures is talking about something else. And it's saying you can do it moderately. Let's read on. Verse 28.
Wine measurably drunk and in season bringeth gladness of the heart and cheerfulness of the mind.
All right, so when it's done moderately amongst brethren within the feast, you communing with your brethren, it says it brings happiness and joy to you. It makes you enjoy the situation. So you're able to kind of relax a little bit and mingle and mix with your brethren. It's not a bad thing. But let's read on.
Verse 29. But wine drunken with excess makes bitterness the mind.
All right, so when you overly do it, drunken with excess, make it bitterness of the mind. Become bitter now in your mindset. And what shall it cause? Read on.
With brawling and quarreling.
With brawling and quarreling. So this is physically talking about this. When you just inebriated, just drunk out of your mind. Incapable of controlling your faculties. Just saying, I want to say Preacher Ardon had mentioned this to me. It's like he was saying that when a person is sober, you got all these filters up in your mind where you have a thought that come through or something that you might want to say, but it got 7 filters to go through. And by the time you get to that 7th one, you're like, I ain't going to say that. I ain't going to say that. But when you begin to get drunk and you start drinking, all six filters are gone. You got one now. One is it's going to make it through that one. And it's just like, cuss this out. And it go through that one filter and it just come right out of your mouth. This is what it's talking about with that drunkenness. You're incapable of just controlling your faculties. That anger may come. Somebody may do something when you were sober. You would have just let it go. Brother stepped on your shoe. You would have just been, man, all right, bro, it's all good, man. I'll wipe it off. I'll clean it. It's no big deal. Cool. But then you get drunk. All them filters go away. You like, man, bro, my new joy, I'm about to do something. I'm about to handle business. This is what it's talking about. But wine with excess maketh bitterness of the mind. You got brawling and quarreling. Let's read on.
Verse 30. Drunkenness increaseth the rage of a fool till he offend. It diminisheth strength and maketh wounds.
All right, so drunkenness increases the rage of a fool till he offend. Like I said, you are no longer in control of your faculties. You're offending brothers now. Before you had 7, you could have been a brother with 20 filters. Well, you like, ain't nothing coming out of that brother. But as soon as that brother get to drinking, that brother get to saying all kind of stuff. And you like, damn, this brother offended me. And I know he normally wouldn't even say anything like that. But damn, just said that to me? Wow. It says drunkenness increases that rage. And you will begin to offend your brother, offend your sister. And it diminishes your strength. It diminishes you. How so? You got a reputation to keep hold. When people begin to see you like that, no matter you was drunk or not, they may not know you was drunk. They may not know you had any drink. All they see is you offended me, bruh. You offended me, sis, with that. I don't know if you realize you offended me with that. But it begins to diminish you. You are no longer looked at as this person as, you ain't no longer a wise man or woman. Let's read on. As a matter of fact, let's go back to where you at, T. John.
Galatians chapter 5, the latter part of verse 21. Revelings and such like of that which I tell you before, as I've also told you in time past, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of Abba.
All right, so once again, these things that we just went through, this whole list of things that we went through, are the things that those wicked doers, not part of the seventh covenant, not atoning for trespass, willingly just allowing sin to come through. It says, these are the things that you shall not do, these revelings. And what is revelings? To go even deeper into that, that's like that party animal in you, where you just got to you got to party. You got to be going out. I got to go to the bar. I got to be doing this. I got to be engaged in this wickedness. Or even having this like crowd like mindset. And we may see it. Like you'll see it at rallies, like especially at Donald Trump rallies. You see all these hillbilly rednecks, and they just get, and before all of that's going down, they be cool, moderate, temperate, and you wouldn't even know. But as soon as they get in that crowd and everybody, as soon as somebody say, and the next thing you know, you like, yeah, and then you get to going. And then now you in that crowd like mindset with that reveling, and you a part of it now. And then once you out of it, you like, damn, you sit back and like, they got you on the news. Like, look at him. Look at him. They have people here, they're angry, the such and such, the good old boys, they're angry. And you looking at yourself like, damn, I did that? I didn't even know I was doing that. But you become a part of that. You're not collecting the fruit of the righteous. We got to walk circumspect. And it says, these that walk this pathway, that gather the fruit of the wicked, it says, ye shall not inherit the kingdom, because you're not going to have any fruit to give unto the Most High. You're going to have a whole lot of fruit, and you're going to be giving it to Satan. You shall give it to your father, the devil. But let's begin to transition. Let's understand what these true fruits are, the fruits of the Spirit, the fruits that we offer to our Abba in the seventh covenant. Let's get it. Verse 22.
But the fruit of the Spirit is love.
All right, so what is this love? Is it just being compassionate? Just give me a hug, sister. I love you. Is that what it is? Is that what love is? Absolutely not. If you could, give me John 14 and start at 21. So what is love? We need to understand love. A lot of people use it out in the world, and we know our Christian brethren like to use it to say that it's all about love. And you can just disregard everything else that the scripture says. It's all about love. And then people may look at the Israelites and say, well, how y'all just God's people, man? It's all about love. Shouldn't matter who. But it does matter, because we have a part to play. Each and every one of us have a part to play. It says the adoption, the promises, the covenant, the givers of the covenant, it all belongs to Israel. So if we're not doing our job, it's no salvation for you either, bucko. You can't get it either. Israel has to be the priesthood. You need a strong priesthood for righteousness, whether Jew or Gentile. A Gentile has his part to play. You need to come and offer and support the priesthood. Without that, all of us are damned. Let's get John 14:21.
He that have my commandments and keep them, he it is that love me.
All right, so here we have it. He that hath my commandments and keepeth them, he it is that loveth me. And he that loveth me shall be loved of my Father. So this is love. It is keeping the commandments. What are the commandments? Let's get it. Porter Shamar, if you could get it for me. And we'll just go through some of them. Give me Exodus 34. And we'll pick it up at the 22nd verse. So once again, love is keeping the commandments of the Most High. And within keeping these commandments, there's actually law, statutes, and commandments. So if, let's just say, bring out a scenario, your brother drops some money or drop his wallet or whatever the case may be, you're not going to take out of his wallet, because you're not keeping commandment now. You're not loving your brother or your sister. Get that for me when you got it.
Verse 22. And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, and of the first fruit of the wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end.
All right, so this just being one of the true 10 commandments, which is not found in Exodus 20, but Exodus 34, and we'll just get one of them. And it says, read that again, matter of fact.
And thou shalt observe the feast of weeks, of the first fruit of wheat harvest, and the feast of ingathering at the year's end.
All right, so this is what we're actually in now. This is that love. By you gathering your fruit and not gathering the fruit of the wicked, what we just went through a whole list of, we're now in that feast of weeks. And he says, in this feast of weeks, you shall bring your first fruits. So you shall be doing the things that are fruitful within this entire Feast of Weeks. This is a commandment. This is part of the true 10 commandments. This is how you shall love. This is what love is, keeping the commandments of the Most High. Let's read on, verse 23.
Thrice in a year shall all your men children appear before the Most High Abba of Israel.
Read on.
For I will cast out the nations before thee, and enlarge thy borders.
So look at this. The Most High telling you, when you come and love me, I will then begin to cast out all these other nations. The ones that are the head and you the tail, you will no longer be that. I shall make you the head and them the tail now. I shall make you rise up, and their kingdom shall begin to fall when you come to love me. Give me true love. Don't just tell me you love me in word, and then you go about to just gather all this fruit of the wicked. Love me the way that I want to be loved is what the Most High is essentially telling us. All right, let's get back to where you're at, T. John.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 22.
My bad. Did we finish up in John 14?
Neither shall any man desire thy land.
Go ahead, read it from the top again.
For I will cast out the nations before thee, and enlarge thy borders.
John 14:21.
I didn't have that. I can jump there though.
All right, so once again, we're just reiterating the points, making sure we bring out what true love is. We know the world likes to put out that love is that compassion, and hugging and kissing and all that stuff. That's cool. That's good. You got a husband, wife. That's good. Show them that compassion. It's good to do that. But let's know what true love is. Once again, let's get it again just to reiterate the point. John 14:21.
He that have my commandments and keep them, he it is that love me, and he that love me shall be loved of my Father, and I will love him, and will manifest myself to him.
All right, so this Christ speaking. He says, he that love me shall be loved of my Father. So when you keep commandments, when you do the things you're supposed to do, when you gather your spiritual fruit in the feast of the Most High, gather your virtue, he says, you shall be loved of my Father. He shall accept you. You shall do well with him. He shall look at you and say, good job, my son or my daughter. And it says, I will love him, and he will manifest himself to him. Let's read on. What you got?
Galatians chapter 5, latter part of verse 22. Joy, peace.
All right, in this peace, which most of us know at the House of Wisdom, and if you don't know, go back and watch some of the older classes, the spiritual sacrifices. We understand that peace is the peace offerings. Peace being multiplied unto our Abba. It's not just the absence of war and I'm going to be cool today, so I'm peaceful. It is offering unto the Most High what's due to him, his daily sacrifices. Let's read on.
Long suffering, gentleness.
Go back to long suffering.
Long suffering.
All right, so this long suffering, you get that for me when you got it. I want to make sure we get this point, and this is a part of enduring through hardships, through hard times. And the Most High said, I shall long suffer with thee. So long suffer for righteousness' sake. Don't just be hasty in times of trouble. Don't just, lose your cool. As I mentioned from David in Psalm 73. Remember, he said, my feet have well nigh slipped. He said, man, I almost went off. I was almost hasty in a time of trouble. I was going through it. I was catching hell every single day. But he said, have long suffering. This is a part of you gathering fruit. Remember, this love, joy, peace, these are all things to gather righteous fruit, spiritual fruit unto the Most High. So long suffering being a part of it. Knowing the latter end of the wicked. Let's get it when you got it. 2 and 1.
I had said in mine heart.
Ecclesiasticus.
Give me 1 second.
Right, so this long suffering, let's make sure we understand it is to endure. We're going to go through hardships. We're going to go through times like right now. Look at it. It seems bleak. It seems like, man, nobody's coming to it. It'll seem like, man, nobody's coming around. The seats are not filled. But we have to be those who have a broad respect, whoever to look the distance and look and foresee that Everything is aligning right here. The Most High said, I never work with a large multitude. I always work with the remnant. I'm good with the remnant. Son, daughter, don't worry about it. The seats may not be filled early, but it'll be filled when the time comes, when the power comes. But ye that see it before then, blessed be you. Let's get it when you got it.
My son, if thou come to serve the Most High, prepare thy soul for temptation.
All right, so when you come to serve the Most High, when you come to gather your fruit, when you come under the seventh covenant, it says, prepare thy soul for temptation. Prepare it. Just look for it. Know it's coming. Look on this road. It may look clear, but understand and know that temptation is going to come. Something is going to come that's going to make me want to veer off to the right or veer off to the left. I'm going to see a side road that's going to look pleasing to me, but I got to endure that temptation. I got to make sure I prepare and set my mind that that's not where I started at. I know when I started, the Most High gave me strict and specific directions to follow this road. Veer not off. Don't go. It's going to be some stuff that come up, and you're going to want to veer off, but do it not. Let's read on.
Verse 2, set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
All right, so it says, set thy heart aright, and your heart being your mind. Set your mind aright, and constantly endure. Set your mind to, you know what, I got to fight this fight. And while I fight this fight, I know how to fight it. I fight it through spiritually sacrificing unto the Most High, giving him his just due daily. Daily sacrifices is how I fight. And at certain times, I may need to fast. I may need to turn off social media. I may need to turn off the TV. I'm going to fight. He's always saying, set your heart aright, constantly endure. Let's read that again.
Set thy heart aright, and constantly endure, and make not haste in time of trouble.
And make not haste in time of trouble. There'll be times where you'll be brought to a lower state. You'll be brought very, very low. And you'll be feeling like, man, the best thing for me to do is just to walk away from this covenant for a second so I can get myself right. This is the absolute worst thing you can do. The best thing you can do is endure and make not haste in time of trouble. Be not hasty with your decision making. Know and understand that the Most High says stay on this road. It's going to get narrow. It's going to get bumpy sometime. But you have to stay on that road. Stay the course. Essentially what it's saying. Don't be hasty to just make any decision. You're like, man. I've seen brothers and sisters do it countless times. Where they believe that I can just, man, I'm with it. I'm with the seventh covenant. I'm with all of it. But, man, I got to get my money right. I got to get my business together. I got to get this right. And then I'm going to get back to it. The adversary is like, hey, brother, please do it. I want you to do it. Please do it. Because when you do, he waiting right there for you. He's setting a trap that you ain't gonna, it's going to be hard to get out. The Most High is telling you, be not hasty. Just constantly endure. Just know that I got you. I know what you need. I know all your needs and everything that you want. Just be patient. Let's read on.
Verse 3, cleave unto him and depart not away.
So not only will you just don't make haste in time of trouble, it says cleave unto the Father. When you begin to go through these hardships, cleave unto him. Make sure that, man, I'm not walking from anything. It's never a time to just say, I'm going to walk away and I'm going to get my business together and get my life right. I got to get my money up so I can be able to do this. He's saying, cleave to me. Don't do that. He's saying, do what you got to do in the physical, but do not depart from me. Stay close to the nucleus. You can be going through hardship. Who is a strong soldier who shall endure through it all? We have to be that. This is how we gather that fruit. He says, cleave unto me. In all that you do, he says, depart not away. Don't set time aside to go get yourself together. You're going to get yourself together right here on this road. Let's read on.
That thou mightest be increased at thy last end.
All right, look at that. So you may be increased at thy last end. As I mentioned before in Psalm 73, David was speaking truth to us, speaking volumes to us. He was examining the wicked. He was examining the world around us. And we can look at it and say, damn, man, they just got everything over there. They got money. They got this. They got access to this. And I'm doing everything the Most High tell me to do. And I'm catching hell. But he said, all praise to the Most High, as I mentioned before. Thank you, Abba, for showing me their latter end. And then we see right here, it says that thou may be increased at thy last end. So he's showing you their destruction. And then he's also showing us that you shall reap a reward when you gather your fruits. You shall reap a reward when you just stay the course. It's going to get hard. You're going to get bumps, bruises, scratches, all of that. But when you endure, he says, you shall be increased at thy last end. Let's read on, verse 4.
Whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
All right, so whatsoever is brought upon thee, take it cheerfully. Just know and understand that the Most High is cleaning you. He's pruning you. He's making sure that you are acceptable unto him. Matter of fact, get that for me real quick. Hold what you got, but get it in St. John 15. But he's saying, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a low estate.
15. What else?
St. John 15. And pick it up at 1.
I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away.
All right, so as the scripture says, be cheerful when thou art brought to a low estate. When you begin to go under these harsh times, these trials and tribulations, remember he said, take it cheerfully. Understand and know that the Most High is working with you. He's cleansing you. He's doing the thing unto you. Let's read on.
And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit.
Look at that. So this is that taking it cheerfully. He says, when he began to purge you of all that leaven, all that sin that been up in you, trespass upon trespass that you've been living your entire life, he says, I'm going to purge it, that you may bring forth fruit. I'm doing it for a purpose. This is why he told us to take it cheerfully. Take it cheerfully. Understand and know that I got to clean you, son, daughter, so you shall bring forth fruit. And he said, remember, he said, at thy last end, remember, you shall be increased. Let's read on.
Verse 3. Now ye are clean through the word which I have spoken unto you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself.
Look at that. He says, abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit itself. You need me to bear fruit, son or daughter. You need me in you. You need me to help you. This is why he said, depart not away. Be not hasty in time of trouble. Take it cheerful when you come under these harsh conditions. Take it cheerfully and know that the Most High is cleaning you. And he's cleaning you to make sure you bring forth fruit. Don't walk away from it. Stay in it. Stay the course. Let's read on.
Except it abide in the vine, no more can ye, except ye abide in me. I am the vine. Ye are the branches. He that abideth in me, and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit. For without me, ye can do nothing.
All right, so go back to what you got. You can drop that and go back to what you got. So look at what he's saying. Abide in me. Abide in me, and I in you, and I will increase you. And you cannot bear fruit without me. Without me cleansing you and purging you, showing you the ways, giving you my Holy Spirit of wisdom to show you how to gather your fruit. So you shall be increased at the last end. You cannot do it without me. He said, be not hasty in time of trouble, and take it cheerfully. Let's get back to where you were.
Galatians chapter 5.
Start from the top, verse 4.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 4. Yahushua is become of no effect unto you.
All right, hold on. Ecclesiasticus 2. You had that, right? Right, so the same point that we're iterating is, whatsoever is brought upon thee, take cheerfully, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. Remember what it said in St. John, when ye abide in me, become that branch. And you may be a small branch in the beginning, but keep getting your nutrients. You're going to grow, and when you grow, you'll be a fruitful bough. You'll be a branch that's hanging with fruit as long as you abide in me. He says, and be patient when thou art changed to a lower state. When you are going through that purging, that trial, take it cheerfully. Let's get it when you got it. Ecclesiasticus 2, and pick it up at the 5th verse.
For gold is tried in the fire, and acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
All right, so gold, he's making a comparison to gold. If you see gold just laying on the street, you may not know it's gold, a raw piece of gold. You may not know it's gold. It may look like a rock or some trash. But he says gold is tried in the fire. And what else?
Acceptable men in the furnace of adversity.
All right, so as gold is put through that fire, that flame, that immense heat, all of the toxins, all of the things that cause it to look like trash begin to become removed, and it begins to shine and shimmer. It begins to become a thing of value now. You like, wow, that's a big brick of gold now. Before I thought it was trash on the street. So he's saying, as gold is tried in that fire, so shall you be tried in that fire. So shall you be purged in the furnace of adversity. Once again, going back to taking it cheerfully when thou art changed to a lower state. Let's finish this up.
6. What part you want?
6.
Believe in him, and he will help thee. Order thy way aright, and trust in him.
All right, once again, believe in him, and he will help thee. While you're walking on this road, walking this path, stay true to it. He said, believe in him. Foresee what's to come. The Most High is telling us there shall be a gift for you. When you do what you're supposed to do and you stay on this straight and narrow, there's a gift for you at the end of this road. Let's get back to where you were in Galatians, I think it was.
Galatians chapter 5, latter part of verse 22. Gentleness.
All right, and this gentleness is not like where you just softly touching things and just being very gentle and suave and debonair with everything. And yes, just gentleness. This gentleness is actually, if you could get the etymology for me, or you got it.
Well born, of noble ranking or family. High born, worthy, noble, of a good family, courageous, valiant, fine, and good.
All right, and all these things are talking about being this in the covenant, being noble, being ranked, never diminishing yourself. Remember before it said when you began to gather the fruit of the wicked, you began diminishing yourself, diminishing your strength. You begin to ruin your reputation when you become drunken and not sober-minded, drunken in the spirit. He's saying, have this gentleness. Know that you are of a royal lineage, and not to give you a green light to be arrogant or to say, like some of our brothers may do, is I'm an Israelite and I'm this and we this and we shall be this. And it's not to do that. Remember, the Most High said, I have chosen you out of this. Yes. Who are you to be arrogant and cocky now? I chose you. If it was not for me, you would still be laying in that pit of darkness. So understand what it is and walk in it, and never let anybody diminish you. Never let anybody make you or debase you and make you lower than what you are. It's not to be arrogant, but it's to make sure I'm royal. I'm part of this royal priesthood, and I'm gonna do a certain thing, and I'm walking in this covenant, and shall not diminish my covenant for you or nobody. I'm not engaging in the things that you want me to engage in. And just like bringing it to where we at right now, you may have your parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, like, what? Y'all ain't in Christmas? What? Y'all ain't, why not? And you got to look at them and be able to say, I'm not diminishing nothing for you. You're not going to debase me. I'm part of the royal priesthood, and I'm offering them to my Father what's due unto him. I'm not diminishing anything. Let's read on.
Goodness.
All right, and this goodness, if you could get for me Deuteronomy 30, verse 15. And this goodness goes all the way back to the beginning. Goes all the way back to Adam and Eve. Remember when they were in the Garden of Eden still, the Most High said, eat of every tree, everything of the garden. Eat of this tree of life. But he said, eat not of this tree of good and evil. For that is not a covenant made for you. That's a covenant made for somebody else. Yes. So this goodness is understanding and knowing what it is. We've debased to this covenant because of our ancestors. So we have to do a thing. Let's read it in Deuteronomy 30, verse 15.
See, I have set before thee this day life and good, and death and evil.
So knowing now that we've came down to this covenant and we have to endure through it for our time, our dispensation of time, the Most High said, y'all got to do it because Eve was beguiled and partook of it, and Adam followed suit. Now you have to be in that covenant. And while you're in that covenant, do what you're supposed to do. But when I come at that latter end, I'm going to give you another covenant, the covenant of the tree of life. But do what you got to do in that covenant for the time being, and walk circumspect and just with the Most High. But let's read on.
Verse 16. And that I command thee this day to love the Most High thy Abba, to walk in his ways, and keep his commandments.
All right, you can drop that. Let's get back to where you are in Galatians.
Galatians 5, latter part of 22. Faith.
All right, in this faith, once again, we'll expound on it just a moment. We're not going to make this a class about faith. Chief Priest has broken faith down numerous of times. Check out the catalog on YouTube if you want the deeper breakdown of faith. But for the moment, we'll just give you a brief breakdown of what faith is. Get that for me when you got it.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for.
All right, so it says faith is the substance of the things that you hope for. So this is what true faith is. Faith, be not beguiled. We know they teach that faith is just blindly believing a thing. So if faith is blindly believing a thing, if a brother just say, hey, say you're a wealthy man, let me borrow $1 million on faith. I'm good for it on faith. You just going to willingly I got you, brother. You said it's faith, so I got you. I'm just going to believe in that. Not so. A brother that is known to be in good standing, is known to be a righteous man, to keep law, statutes, commandments, that'll be a man that you will have some faith in giving that money to. You like, I've lent to him before, and he's always paid me back. Always, every time, always paid me back, never failed. I got faith now that brother paid me back. He's giving me the faith that I need to trust him with this money. Let's read it again.
Now faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
All right, so talking about the Feast of Weeks and now knowing what true faith is, remember Yahushua also asked, shall I find faith on the earth? So as he have commanded us in the true 10 commandments to come in the feast, which we went over earlier, to come and give your first fruits in the Feast of Weeks. He's now asking, shall I find faith on the earth? Shall I find you giving your first fruits in the Feast of Weeks? Shall I find that substance, the thing that I hope for, so I can now give you the thing that you hope for? Shall I find it? All right, let's move on in Galatians.
Galatians chapter 5, verse 23. Meekness, temperance. Against such there is no law.
All right, so this meekness, being mild-mannered, being well-tempered in the ways of the Most High, and this temperance. And it says, against such there is no law. So when you're doing all these things that we just listed, he says, against such there is no accusation. He's saying there is no law. And once again, reiterating the same point, when he's saying this law, he's talking about Moses' covenant. Accusations. You shall be blameless in the courts of the Most High. So against such, when you do all these things to be gathering your fruit in this Feast of Weeks, the adversary cannot accuse you in the courts of the Most High. He said, there is no such law against thee now. You shall be found blameless. Let's read on, verse 24.
And they that are Yahushua have crucified the flesh with their affections and lusts.
All right, so being that against such there is no law, this is exactly what it's talking about right here. And they that are Christ have crucified the flesh. You have crucified that spirit of sin. You're no longer letting it weigh down on you. You are like, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm not walking after the flesh. I'm walking after the spirit. And everything we just listed is, remember, he says, this is the fruit of the spirit at the beginning of it. This is the fruit of the spirit, and begin to list it. And these are the things that will cause it to where you will be blameless now in the courts of the Most High, where it's saying, against such there is no law. And you begin to crucify your flesh with the affections and lusts, these desires of the flesh that weigh you down. Go ahead, read on verse 25.
If we live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit.
So if we are closely connected with the Most High in spirit, because we worship and serve him in spirit and truth, he said, let us walk in the Spirit. Let us always be in the Spirit, collecting the fruit of the Spirit, especially in this Feast of Weeks. Let's read on.
Let us not be desirous of vain glory.
Let us not be lustful and desirous of this vain glory. Remember, we've been mentioning it all throughout the class. Be not those who need that immediate gratification. You need the earthly riches. You can't stay the straight and narrow. You're not the disciplined one. Remember, the Most High said, if you cannot bear your cross, if you cannot hate your mother, your father, your son, daughter, all of these things, that biblical hate, ye cannot be my disciplined one. If ye cannot bear your cross, ye cannot be my disciplined one. If ye cannot worship and serve me in spirit and in truth, ye cannot be my disciplined one. So it says, be not desirous of that vainglory. When you're looking, like I said, I gave the example as you walk in this straight, narrow road, and he told you, prepare your soul for temptation. Know that in this road, it's going to be somebody right on every corner. Hey, brother, hey, brother, I got these, I got this, I got these. On every corner, you like, damn, man, I can't get away from it. It's like going to Sam's Club. As soon as you go on the front door, what internet do you have? Every corner, you like, I can't get away from it. But he's telling you, foresee that. Know that it's evil that's coming. He says, and walk in it. Be not desirous of that vain glory. Because it'll be some glory. It'll be an appearance of glory that'll come with it. And what else?
Provoking one another. Envying one another.
All right, so let's not provoke one another to anger, to all these different things, to be a sinful people. And not envying one another. All right. If you can, Porter Shamar, get from me Proverbs 18, verse 20. So everything that we just went through in Galatians was showing that this is how you gather your fruit. When you walk in all these different ways. And we showed you how to not gather the fruit of the wicked. So we know the fruit of the Spirit is having love, which is true love, which is keeping the commandments of the Most High. That joy, peace, long suffering with one another. These are collecting the fruit of the Spirit. That gentleness. Knowing true gentleness, knowing that I'm not diminishing my role of a royal lineage. I'm a part of the royal priesthood. I'm not diminishing it for anybody. Knowing the goodness. Knowing what true faith is. This is how you collect that virtue. And that virtue being your spiritual fruit. So then at the 50th day and throughout the feast, you have what is needed to offer unto the Most High. And remember, the things not to gather is the wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, and murders. All these things that we went through, which you don't want to have, which you'll be gathering fruit of the wicked. So in doing so, and you hold for me Proverbs 15 and 1. In doing so, it is tethered and stitched into the Proverbs. And in these Proverbs, we tether it to the 7 pillars of wisdom. What are the 7 pillars of wisdom? It's knowledge, understanding, discretion, equity, justice, judgment, and the Holy Spirit of wisdom. So within doing this, you begin to gather your fruit by walking these 7 pillars. By tethering it to the Proverbs. And not only that, you read it and do all that. All that's good. That's all a first step. But you must walk it in deeds. Not just by mouth only. Just, 7 pillars, I know them. Like it's a thing for children when we just can quote the 7 pillars. I'm walking the 7 pillars. You don't even know, bro. I just performed discretion on you. You don't even know. I just performed all 7 on you. You don't even know. I'm like a ninja out here with these 7 pillars. You ain't even seen it coming. I'm operating in it. I'm gathering my virtue. I know what's going on. Let's get it. And we'll just go through it briefly. If you give me Proverbs 18, verse 20.
A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled.
All right, so having the first knowledge, knowing the knowing the first pillar, which is knowledge, we know Proverbs 18:20 is the knowledge. It is the written information. It says, a man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. So this is the knowledge. So the understanding is a man's belly will be satisfied from the fruit that he gathers. All the things that he does, knowing how to gather his virtue, having that true gentleness, walking in faith, not gathering the fruit of the wicked, knowing to stay away from all of that, know to walk in the Spirit. He says, all of these fruits, my belly shall be satisfied from them. These spiritual fruit that I gather and offer unto the Most High, this shall satisfy my belly, my spiritual belly. And it says, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled. So all things that I do, as I mentioned before, you will have an option to walk these 7 pillars or not. And it can be, and sometimes it'll be extremely hard. It'll be something that it's just been in you when you like, man, this really pisses me off. this type of person really pisses me off, and I want to walk down this other way, but I know I need to walk these 7 pillars. And all this may be going through your head, but it says the increase of his lips shall be filled with his good fruit, because you said, you know what, I'm examining and I observed this opportunity to walk the 7 pillars. I want to be pissed off right now. Oh, I do, but I'm gonna walk them, and I'm gonna give you a soft answer, brother. Like I said, I'm a ninja with these 7 pillars. You ain't seeing it, but I just performed it on you. You're not even seeing it, and I'm performing it so I can collect my virtue. I ain't doing it for no other reason but to get my fruit. That's it. I ain't doing it because I got some compassion over you, because if the Most High give me the green light, I will do something else to you. So next we have discretion, being the third pillar of wisdom. So now that we have the understanding, we're able to discern what is right and what is wrong. So we know a man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth. So if you have not fruit, that is the wrong thing. That's because you have no fruit, so you ain't been walking the 7 pillars. This is the wrong thing to do. And you shall not be increased by your lips, and not be filled, but the increase of your lips, because you have no fruit thereof. You've never been walking 7 pillars. You've never been doing the right thing. This is that discernment. You're now able to know, okay, I can walk this. I know this. I know what's right and what's wrong. Matter of fact, get that for me real quick. Proverbs 15:1.
A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
All right, so once again, you can observe the time to say a soft answer will turn away this wrath. You can be in a mood where I'm not even angry, or whatever the case may be, and somebody just say something to you just to throw you off, and you like, damn, really, bro? That's how you coming, bro? And and whatever the case may be, and you can look at it and observe and say, oh, I got a perfect opportunity for the 7 pillars of wisdom. Matter of fact, let me bring one to mind. Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turn away wrath. And a brother can be at your neck, spit all on your cheek. You like, bruh, like, calm, my brother, calm down. My sister, calm down. Look, I don't know what I did to you. I apologize if I was wrong, whatever the case may be. You say whatever you say. You now have turned away that wrath. You now have observed and walked all 7 pillars. And spiritually, you should hear a cha-ching going off in your mind, in your consciousness, knowing that the Most High I just got my paycheck. I get my paychecks right on the spot from the Most High. Hear a spiritual cha-ching, and you like, cool, I'm good. And some people may look at it and be like, man, that brother's soft right there. That brother just let him say all this about his mother and all that. But he said, you know what? I'm observing the opportunity to walk these 7 pillars. Read it again.
A soft answer turneth away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
All right, so knowing that the grievous words will stir up that anger, and that will cause you not to gather the fruit of the righteous. You'll be gathering the fruit of the wicked. And that can turn in, we all know, that can turn into numerous of things. As soon as that anger turn in, you give some answer beyond being the soft answer, and it turn into wrath, the next thing you know, y'all both at each other. He yelling at you, and then you, brother, you spit on it. I'm spitting on me. I'm gonna spit on you. And the next thing you know, y'all going at it, and then somebody could possibly end up dying. And then you done now gathered all this fruit of the wicked because you just failed to walk the 7 pillars to just gather that fruit and keep your life and keep your sanity. All right, so moving forward, we got the next pillar, which would be equity, which is knowing to be equal in with every man or woman, or in this case, with every situation. Knowing that whatever the situation may be, I'm going to make sure I always gather my fruit, especially in the Feast of Weeks while we gathering fruit, while it's the time to gather fruit. We should always be doing it, but let me especially in this Feast of Weeks to understand and know that I don't care what situation come up, I'm going to weigh it out, and no matter what, I'm walking 7 pillars. I'm not ever going to collect that fruit of the wicked. I'm not going to ever let that one little, and y'all know, you might have had a bag of apples, and you got one apple in there that's just rotten, and you leave that apple in there long enough, all the rest of the apples are going to be rotten. So he's telling us, let none of it come in. At every situation, be equitable with all situations and walk it. So next we have justice, which is now understanding, knowing that that justice is synonymous with righteous. So I'm going to always be right in the situation. I already have the discretion, equity, the understanding of all of this. So I'm going to make it a lifestyle now. I'm going to always choose right. And next being judgment, which we can properly assess the whole situation in our mind before we do anything. It's all mental right now. It's all spiritual, where you all thinking upon these first 6 pillars. And then now that 7th is where you actually make the action. You leap into action and make it happen. When you thought about all of it, just like we just brought out the example, when you give a soft answer, and it shall turn away that wrath, but grievous words stir up anger. You got everything you need, and then you walk it. And you know what you just had got away. You know what you just escaped. You just escaped pure evilness. And a lot of times, as I mentioned before, this is that road. These are the type of things that come in the midst of that road. When you're walking down it, it may be some vessel that's fit for the devil's use, just coming along like, hey, F you and F your mama. And you just looking like, wow, what? And this, and that, and that, and you like, I'm going to give a soft answer right here. This is how you stay that course. You're not hasty in time of trouble. This may be a time of trouble for certain people. You may have a problem with anger. When you like, man, I got to get wicked. But when you walk in that road, be not hasty and say, you know what? Brother, you have this kind of, you have whatever kind of day you're going to have, brother, but I'm going to go walk this way. Matter of fact, get for me Proverbs 14:7. So when you walk these 7 pillars, this is, as we went through in the beginning in the intro of the class, Wisdom said, I have hewn out my 7 pillars. She said, this is the foundation. This is shall keep you established, sturdy. This is a thing that when storms come, there's nothing happening in this house. That thing is deeply rooted into the earth, where it's going nowhere. It's deeply rooted into the earth. It shall not sway to and fro. You're on the straight and narrow. Get that for me when you got it.
Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge.
So we'll take it a step further than Proverbs 15:1. You may not even be engaged with any conversation. You may can just look at a person and understand and know this person, for lack of better words, it's a hater right here. A true hater of Satan. I see it all in you. I see it in you. And you know what I'm going to do? Read it again.
Go from the presence of a foolish man when thou perceivest not in him the lips of knowledge.
So when I perceive in him that he is not walking 7 pillars, everything that is spewing out of his mouth is not 7 pillars. He ain't even completing the first one. There's no knowledge in this brother or this sister. So it's saying, let me about face and walk away from this brother or sister. Let me get away from him. I don't need to be around this person because I know what this person can provoke me to do. And I need to collect all fruit, all spiritual fruit. I don't need to be lacking when it comes to the Most High. All right, so once again, the 7 pillars are vital to each and every one of our walk. This is the foundation to when we are girded up, when we begin to come and serve the Most High. When we begin to walk down this road, it's narrow, and all these things are going to come upon us. But the Most High has given us everything we need, everything that we need to be established, to be girded in it, to do everything that we need to do, to make sure that we make it until the end. He's giving you all the proper armament to make sure you make it through. Like he said before, he's telling you, temptation shall come. It's not going to be easy. Temptation shall come. And that temptation shall come to snatch your fruit away from you. It's coming to say, yeah, that's too fruitful right there. I need some of that so I can make it rotten. Give me all that. But we got to be the ones that walk these 7 pillars, that understand what it is to collect spiritual fruit, especially in this Feast of Weeks. Gather it. Gather as much as you can. Do what you got to do. If you got to go out, go on a virtue mission. Go out, feed the homeless. Go out, counsel your brother or sister. Give wise counsel to those that are less fortunate. Give to those that are less fortunate. It's wintertime right now. It may be a brother or sister out there out there just like, man, I done had this coat since 1974, but I'm going to keep rocking it. And it got holes all in it. You like, nah, not so, man. Brother, take this jacket right here, brother. Give to them. Give to those that are needed. Collect your fruit. All right, so we're going to end the class here. And as we always do, we'll open the floor up for any questions that anybody has, that's whether here in person or online, that is pertaining to what we just went through. All right, so the floor is open to any of those who may have a question. Nobody? No questions? We got any questions online?
Got one.
Okay, we got one in the back.
All praises to the Most High, beautiful class, priest.
All praise to the Most High.
Now, and since you're talking about bearing fruit, could you elaborate a little bit more on Matthew 7 and 19? Like, what is this fire here? Matthew 7, verse 19.
Oh, let me get it real quick.
I got it.
Hold on. Matter of fact, let's start at 15.
Okay.
You got it?
Okay.
Prince Speak, John.
Beware of false prophets, which come to you in sheep's clothing, but inwardly they are ravening wolves.
So we're going to get to where you at, but beware of false prophets, those who prophesy contrary to what we just went through. It'll be those who say, you don't got to gather fruit of the Spirit. What is fruit of the Spirit? You ain't got none of that. It'll be those that cause you to gather the fruit of the wicked. We just went through an entire list of it. So it's saying beware of these false prophets, these people who prophesy contrary to what the Most High has put forth. And it says, on the outside, it's like sheep's clothing. It looks appealing. It looks like that's the right thing. And as I mentioned before, I kept saying throughout the entire class, it's like that road that you're walking down. And remember, it's gonna be people in sheep's clothing on every corner. Like, brother, I got what you need. I'm selling it. And we got to be understanding and knowing that inward they are ravening wolves. Let's read on.
Verse 16, ye shall know them by their fruit.
This is how you shall know them, by their fruits. You have to examine each and every person, knowing. Remember, as it said in Proverbs 14:7, if I perceive not in this brother or sister the lips of knowledge, that they're walking 7 pillars, I know right then and there what kind of fruit they gather. If they have no knowledge, they're not executing the first pillar. So they have no fruit. I know they're not walking 7 pillars. So I can examine now and say, okay, I should know them by their fruits. It's no knowledge in this brother or sister. I know this person now. I don't even need to ask them their name, but I just see the way that they're coming off and the way that they're talking. It's no fruit of righteousness. Let's read on.
Do men gather grapes of thorns or figs of thistles? Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
So even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit. And what makes you a good tree? It is everything that we just went through. Remember, the Most High said, be not hasty in time of trouble. Come under the 7th covenant. Always purge yourself. Remember, wisdom said, I have hewn out my 7 pillars. I have gave you a position, a job to do, to collect virtue, to collect your fruit. And it says, and when you read that again.
Even so, every good tree bringeth forth good fruit, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit.
All right, so every good tree that has said, you know what, I'm simple, I know nothing, let me walk into the house of wisdom. Let me walk into it. Let me walk in that covenant. And let me begin to get engaged with it. And wisdom said, remember she was saying, I have mingled my wine. I have done all these things. Come eat of my bread. Come clean yourself now. And then get engaged in the work. And it says, but a corrupt tree bringeth forth evil fruit. That corrupt tree, remember as we said, that vessel had never walked into the house. He never recognized that I'm simple. He said, no, I'm an officer. What do you mean 7 covenant? I don't believe in no 7 covenant. White man is the devil. And this is as and such and such. And this and that. And I'm going to go with this, brother. You off what you talking about. It's all about Israel, baby. And then that's it. This is a corrupt vessel. He never walked into the house. He just said, you know what? I ain't with that. They telling me I got to take off my jewels. Nah, I can't do that. Nah. This is a corrupt tree. And we shall know this corrupt tree by his fruit. We shall know it by his fruit. Let's read on.
Verse 18, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit.
So what happened in the spirit first shall surely come to pass in the flesh. If you never spiritually say that I am a simpleton, I know nothing, and walk into the house and understand, wow, I didn't know this. I didn't know that. I didn't know I can walk 7 pillars. Know nothing about the 7. I didn't know the true 10 commandments. I didn't know how to gather all this fruit. And man, it was in here the whole time. But if you walk not in the house, surely you would never know how to gather any good fruit. This is why it's telling us a good tree cannot bring forth good fruit. I mean, a good tree cannot bring forth evil fruit, but because he's constantly in the works of the Most High, he's constantly walking 7 pillars. It is ingrained, stitched in him or her, where they know, where it's like I said, you like ninja speed with it. You just like, you don't even realize you doing it. You like, yo, 7 pillars, boom, just completed it. And it says, neither can a corrupt tree bring forth good fruit, because he had never walked in that house. He had never recognized that. He or she has never recognized that. I'm a simpleton. I know nothing. I am a fool. They weren't the ones that forsook the foolish. Let's finish this up.
Verse 19. Every tree that bringeth forth not good fruit is hewn down and cast into the fire.
So those of they, as we read in St. John, remember it says, when ye abide not in me, ye shall be like a branch broken off. You just laying in the grass. You ain't get no nutrients from the root, none of that. So it's saying every tree that bringeth not forth good fruit is hewn down. When you begin to bring forth this fruit of the wicked, when you constantly engaged in wicked and anger, everything that we went through, this wrath, strife, envying, all these different things, no matter who it's with, you are collecting fruit of the wicked. And because of that, it shall weigh you down. You're not walking in the spirit. Remember we went through in the beginning that your flesh shall weigh down your soul when you ain't walking 7 pillars, because you're not walking spirit. You're not walking 7 pillars of wisdom. You ain't gathering no fruit. And because of that, as a result of that, you should be cast into the fire. You're good for that only. So hopefully that answered your question. Most High willing. All praises. Nothing else?
Shalom, priest.
Shalom.
Is it possible for people that aren't under the covenant to gather fruit too?
It's not possible. And that's a good question. And I've heard people ask that question quite often. And the best analogy I can give to this is say you looking to get a job, right? Say it's this prominent, prestigious job that you want, right? But you like, they got these uniforms at Walmart, man. I can sew my own name on there, and I think I'll be good. I know what time they open, all that, right? You never don't fill out no application, no nothing. You don't go through the proper channels, no nothing, right? And you just show up to the job like, it look just like theirs. My uniform, okay. Nobody said anything, so I'm going to just walk up in here. And then you work the whole week, right? You work the whole week. Do you think at the end of the week, the boss is going to say, okay, we have Michael here. Or no, man, he don't even see your name. And you write your name, you scribble your name, and he's like, who is Michael? I don't know a Michael. And then you're like, oh, yeah, boss, I've been here all week, worked 12 hours every day. I've been here, boss. Do you think he's going to give you a paycheck? Absolutely not. You didn't go through the proper channels. You weren't hired on. Essentially, what I'm saying is, to be hired on in the 7th covenant, you got to come into the 7th covenant. You have to understand what virtue is. You got to understand what it means to gather your fruit. There's many of people, and we see churches do it all the time, where they go out and they like, oh, we're feeding the homeless, but then you see it all on Facebook. They like, look at me, I gave 1,000, and they all looking to do it outwardly, but not gaining any fruit. So essentially, that's what it is. You're not gaining any fruit if you don't know what it is. Just like, to give another example, when we do go out and we may feed the homeless. I've been in a situation where we had something for a sister, and she didn't like what we had, and just threw it down. Like, they like, damn, sister, we're trying to feed you, and just straight up, I don't eat no damn this, and just threw it down. Like, all right, sis, but we understood what we were doing it for. If you're a person that doesn't understand why I'm doing this, why I'm gathering virtue, you could be led astray. You can begin to gather fruit of the wicked. You can begin to get angry like, chick, I spent $2 on that sandwich. Matter of fact, I spent 5 minutes making that sandwich. And you just going to throw it down? And then next thing you know, you gathering fruit of the wicked. But when you gathering fruit of the righteous, you already know. You saying whether this person take this sandwich or take whatever I give to them or not and throw it down or dispose of it, whatever they do, I'm collecting my virtue. You can throw it up. Hey, sis. Hey, you going to be hungry later on. You're going to wish you had that sandwich. But you do what you do. But not to belabor the point. But that's it.
Come on, all praises.
Shalom, priest.
Shalom, sis. Shalom.
I was just thinking of what my college just brought out. Is John 10:1 relevant to that?
Essentially. You want to read it?
Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that entereth not by the door into the sheepfold, but climbeth up some other way, the same is a thief and a robber. But he that entereth in the door is that the shepherd of the sheep. To him the porter openeth, and the sheep hear his voice, and he calleth his own sheep by name, and leadeth them out.
Essentially, it's saying that same point, sis. We got to know what we're into. And as I mentioned, as I gave the analogy, you're not going to go to some job and just put on the same uniform and like, yep, yeah, I'm hired on. I don't care what they said. I don't go through all the interview stuff. I don't got time for that. I'm going to just go straight, get hired on. I'm going to work hard, too. I'm going to work hard. And then you go and you work your 12 hours all week, and then it's like you scribble your name in. Hey, when my paycheck at? It's not so. You got to understand what you're doing. You got to understand what virtue is. Somebody that's not in seventh covenant, you're not getting any virtue. You're doing it all for vainglory, which Scripture talked about earlier in the class. We're not doing anything for vainglory. Everything that we do has purpose to it. We gather fruit in this Feast of Weeks for the purpose to offer it unto the Most High in the 50th day and all through the 50 days. It has purpose to it. But, yeah, that's it, sis. Anybody else?
Yeah, I got a question over here.
Yeah, anybody else?
All right, so you mentioned you do these 7 pillars, and then and that's how you get the fruit, right? So could you explain that just a little further? Like, how do you know that you're getting fruit when you operate in the 7 pillars? There's like a reward that you get at the end by doing that?
You are done here.
I heard you mention virtue as well. What exactly is that? Are those connected? Are those two pieced together somehow? What is? Explain to me what this fruit is that we're actually gathering.
Con.
I mean, I don't know if there's any scripture, just
Okay.
explanation.
I
trust you out.
Okay. So to make it brief, which we all should know, it's a moment with Christ. Well, Christ, we know this man had much virtue. And this virtue is because he gathered his fruit. He was always walking 7 pillars, always walking in the ways of the Most High. He was a virtuous man. And because of this, people knew it. People knew the power in virtue. And this virtue is what you actually use in spirit, as we've been bringing out through the entire class. It's the fruit of the Spirit. And you use that virtue to make your request known unto the Father. If you got some ailment or sickness or disease or any kind of thing, you can use this virtue in the oblations to make your request known. So, as you asked, a woman knew it. And she said, man, if I can just touch the skirt of his garment, then I shall surely be healed. And when she did, it said virtue came out of him. And he looked and said, whoa, hold up. My money got a little bit low right there. So, I noticed my money got a little bit low. And he knew somebody touched his garment. And when she touched it, she was healed of all these different things, all these ailments and sicknesses of what she had. So essentially, him always walking 7 pillars, always being in good standing, having much spiritual fruit, much virtue, you can actually use this in the courts of the Most High when you bring your fruit to the oblations and make your request known. So hopefully that answers your question.
Okay, so I think I'm connecting the dots now. So virtue is the labors of doing all his works, just like the fruit of your labor. So when you labor in the 7 pillars, your fruit that you get is that virtue, correct?
Con.
Okay, I'm connecting the dots. And the reason why it's so important right now is last question. So why is it important right now that we have to do all that laboring and harvest that virtue and that fruit? Are we in like some special time or something like that? Like any particular time of the year or something?
Well, I got you. So as we mentioned in the beginning of the class in Exodus, remember it said this is our schoolmaster. And within that schoolmaster, it told you, you shall bring forth your first fruits unto the Most High. It is commanded that you do so. So to answer your question, it is vital that we bring forth much fruit in these moments. Remember, he said in this Feast of Weeks, at that Shabbat, well, the day after that Shabbat, which is the 13th Shabbat of the year, is when you come and offer your first fruits. And when you do so, you shall count 7 weeks, and in that 7 weeks you shall bring forth fruit. So us now being in the 7th covenant, where everything is transmuted to spirituality, spiritual fruit now, you better not be lacking when it comes to the Most High. You shall surely have your fruit and gather your fruit to be in good standing with the Most High. Is essentially what it is. So everything that we went through, you performing these good works, and as the scriptures say as well, when you gather the fruit of the wicked, it says these are the wages. The wages of sin are death. So you shall get wages for sin and doing bad works, doing evil works. You shall gain your wages by doing righteous work of the Most High, and which we went through the entire class in Galatians.
Okay. So I think I'm connecting the dots. I'm looking at my calendrical study guide right now as well. I see we're in the, just like you were talking about, that Feast of Weeks in the summer, that 13th Sabbath of the year. We're in the 13th Sabbath of the winter. So we started the Feast of Weeks already, is what you're saying. So we got to harvest that fruit, that virtue, and give it to the Most High, not to Satan. I'm connecting the dots now. I appreciate you, priest.
Khan, absolutely. All praise to the Most High.
Khan.
All right, anybody else? Nobody else? All right, with that, we'll go ahead and close the class down. I hope everyone was able to receive what the Spirit was looking to yield forth. Definitely keep in mind, keep in your frontal lobe to collect your fruit. We are already 1 week in the Feast of Weeks, and there's much work to be done. Who's going to gather that fruit? There's much fruit to be gathered. Who's going to go out and gather it? And remember, gathering in the 7th covenant is spiritually gathering your fruit, your spiritual fruit, to offer unto the Most High what's due in due season. But with that, we'll end the class, and I'll say peace and blessings. Shalom.
He who hath ears to hear, listen carefully as we speak virtue, reaching the world through the efforts of the priests, repairers of the breach, restorers of the paths, rebuilding the tents of David. Our home is found at last at the tabernacle of congregation, where we baptize and anoint our nation, performing oblations upon the brazen altar, walking in the ways of the appointed Savior with poise, escaping the noise from Satan and his poisonous nature. Without fail he accuses the brethren, using his weapons of collusion, and then sin comes upon us. And we deserve it, to be honest. We were cursed, cause we honored and were worshipping the gods of this world, and was living lawless, adverse to the written law, without purpose and little knowledge, serving our wicked conscience. Thus, righteous judgment was handed down from the courts of the Most High, a sobering moment, but let's be holy and pure while we endure and ensure life comes forth. Let us hold tight, secure in our roles as we strive, adorned with our robes white and clean. It might seem like the loneliest road, but we stride in hope as the Most High reveals his ideals. And so we exercise patience as well as love, dwelling safe in the 7th covenant, graciously set the sustenance. Let us exemplify faith through hell and suffering, praying to quell the punishment, waiting on heaven's government to be established, as it was in the Garden of Eden, when Abba had breathed life into creation, and our forefather received the living word. No more are we called prisoners, we live and learn, and study to be approved as the sons of Yahweh, who were lovingly given rules to better build and preserve truth. The bricks surrounding the kingdom are the 7 pillars of virtue. This is a house of wisdom. Shalom.